Beautiful Friday night in the shade. Start Labor Day weekend 2025. College football starting to make a big comeback. We got Auburn versus Baylor. So college fans, that's going to be the start of that. But while waiting, give it a few minutes for people to come in, join. Let's go test mess around with the microphone a little bit. Check out the view. All right. Let's see. All right, like the view. I like the view right here. Looks like we should be all good. All right, it's a gorgeous night out here. Getting ready for fall weather. I mean, technically fall begins in late September, 21st, 22nd, but we kind of consider September, especially Tuesday after Labor Day, the unofficial start of the fall. So we'll just say we're in fall mode right now. I know I am with football being back. I'm in fall mode. And as you see, we got a big trade happen yesterday, folks, that went down. It sent from the Dallas Cowboys, or former Dallas Cowboys superstar defensive end Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers in that trade. And in return for that went nose tackle Kenny Clark, who's a three-time Pro Bowler during his time with the Packers, along with 2 future first-round picks. So we're going to talk about it, break this bad boy down. Wait to see, get a few more people in here and get this thing rocking and rolling. All right, give me 1 second, folks. All right, so give people a minute to come. All right, so give people a minute to come in through to the chat. Let them know we live. And we here talking some football. So yeah, we got the huge trade yesterday. Yeah, like I said, Parsons now went from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. I remember yesterday I was at work when it happened. I was looked up at one of the TVs about, say, a half hour after the trade, and I saw it went down. And then we started talking about it. And on the way out, I recorded that short, giving my initial thoughts about how this can help bolster and will bolster the Packers defense. But now I've had a little 24 hours to think about it. Went back to work today. Worked out because I have a Packers fan and a Cowboys fan working with me. I got to ask them what they think, so I got to hear their perspectives a little bit. And it gave me a little bit to think about. But now here we are live. Let's talk about it. Now for the Cowboys, this is obviously a huge loss, because you're talking about the best player on your defense. Now here's a Cowboys defense last year who was pretty mediocre. Just like the team was pretty mediocre last year. Defense's biggest highlight was going from 32nd against the run early in the season to about, 16th against the run by the time the season's over. That's and that's one of their big highlights in an otherwise subpar below average season. That's not really something you'd ride on home and be proud about. And Micah Parsons was the best player on that defense, hands down. Now he's gone. And not to mention, you had Eric Kendricks as well, who was the other key component of that Cowboys defense last year. He's gone too. For the Dallas Cowboys, you lost the 2 best players from your defense last year on what was overall a mediocre defense. Who's going to hold the glue together this year? Especially considering they spent most of their early picks trying to rebuild the offense, which I don't blame them for. I get it, trying to rebuild that offensive line to protect your quarterback. I don't necessarily blame the Cowboys one bit, but here's the problem now. You spent so much time investing in the offense during the draft that now you're stuck. Your best defensive player is gone. Micah Parsons, who, again, 1 or 2 more years like he's had thus far. This dude could be a lock for the Hall of Fame one day. You're talking about an elite guy at his peak. You couldn't come to a contract deal, so you ousted him to the Green Bay Packers. He's going to get paid over there in Green Bay. Not to mention, you're talking about a Green Bay Packers defense who made some improvements last year overall. With Joe, what's that coach? What's the defensive coordinator's name again? Joe Hafley, I think's his name. He came in last year. You already had 2 Pro Bowlers on that defense last year. You have Xavier McKinney, the Pro Bowl, the guy from the secondary. You also had Rashad Gary as well on the line And now you're adding Micah Parsons to that. So that's two guys that were Pro Bowlers last year, plus an elite pass rusher in his peak. Now, all part of that Packers defense. Obviously, that Packers defense is going to be a force to be reckoned with as long as those guys all stay healthy. And now for the offense, like I said before, I was just coming in, I got a Packers fan, Cowboys fan at work. The Packers fan said, hey, that defense is loaded. But now, if Jordan Love can do his thing, we're set, basically what he said. Meaning, if Jordan Love can have a good season, minimize the turnovers, increase his touchdowns, take that next step up as far as in actually become a top quarterback, the Packers could really make some noise, possibly contend if Jordan Love takes that next step. And obviously, once I looked at it, yeah, obviously the defense, they stay healthy, set. They're loaded. There shouldn't be no concerns for them in that regard. But now the question is, and you got Josh Jacobs at running back. I'm no concerns about him, but question is, can Jordan Love take that next step? Because last year he kind of played, kind of have a Favre-ish type stat line, if you know what I mean. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of interceptions. He had his moments where he showed some promise, but Jordan Love never looked elite at any point last year or in 2023. Well, like both years, he had his flashes of brilliance, but he hasn't been elite. Jordan Love would have to take that next step come year 3 for the Packers to truly be contenders, to go along with that potentially great defense they just put together with that Parsons trade. So there's certainly some potential for the Packers. But that's the big key, though. They got to take that step up because remember last year their big Achilles heel was playing against the division rivals, particularly the Vikings and the Lions. They struggled against them. They struggled against my team, the defending Super Bowl champions. We beat them week 1 in Brazil. Then we beat them in the wild card round. But yeah, for Jordan Love, he's got to take that next step. I mean, he had the benefit of Josh Jacobs last year, but he's got a decent receiving core. He's got Romeo Doubs. Who's the rookie wide receiver again? I know he made the team, and he looks like he could really shine. If you guys remember, let me comment in the chat. Let me know who that is. But the Packers do have some solid pieces on offense. If Jordan Love can take that next step along with that defense, yeah, they could potentially do something big. And you know what's funny about that is the coworker is a Packers fan. I actually brought it to his attention because when I was at work today, I asked him, so what about that trade? Thinking he already knew about it. He's like, what trade? The Packers trade. He's like, oh man, I went home and I went to sleep because he was exhausted, but he's like, I guess he completely missed it. I brought it to his attention. And then about an hour and a half later, I asked him, so what do you think? That's when he said, hey, for me, it's great. Hey, what's up, X-Fan? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a great Friday night. So thanks for rocking with me. Like I said, and then he said pretty much, he called Micah Parsons, at this point, he believes he's a future Hall of Famer. I believe it's going to have to be another year or two before, another year or two of elite production. That could make him a lock. But yeah, he's definitely the best edge. He's definitely pass rusher in the NFL today. And he was the guy that pretty much kept that defense together. And that was what he said. Then when I went home, I thought about him like, he's absolutely right. Right now, it's going nice, going good. Had a nice day at work. Now I'm at home, sitting back, enjoying the fresh air, doing an impromptu stream, giving my thoughts on the big football trade from yesterday. Letting it out. So yeah, it's good and I'm chill right now. Trying to make the most of it because summer's winding down. Want to enjoy this weather while I can. I mean, I'm kind of getting into fall mode right now with football going on. My mind's shifting gears. But hey, man, thanks for asking. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a great night as well. Kicking it right here. I'm thinking about, like I said, I'm realizing, my coworker's a Packers fan, has several valid points about Micah Parsons holding that defense together because I'm looking at that roster now. Dayron Bland. Like I said, no Parsons anymore. Eric Kendricks, who helped their defense out last year, is a free agent. Now, maybe they could bring him back, being that he's a free agent. But even if they do, as of this point, your main players would be Kenny Walker, The nose tackle, who they acquired from the Packers in the trade, who had 3 Pro Bowl nods during his time in Green Bay with a solid run, but is he really, Kenny Walker, going to be able to fill that gap that Parsons had, that Parsons leaves by going to Green Bay? For the Cowboys, no, I don't see that. With all due respect to Kenny Walker's a good nose tackle. He's made 3 Pro Bowls. But do you really think Kenny Walker, with all due respect, is going to fill that void that Parsons is leaving by going to the Packers? I don't see it. I got Arku in the chat. Arku is a Cowboys fan. This subject's represented. With Arku in the chat, I'd like to ask you, what do you think now? What is your optimism level and prediction for the season now? Because you got Dak coming back off a major injury. Well, he does have some new pieces on the offense. Your defense took a huge hit, obviously. To ask you, Arku, what do you think now, expectation-wise? Excuse me. Yep. Yeah, I'm catching these flies out here. If this continues up, I might have to relocate indoors. As much as I want to enjoy this outdoor weather, if these gnats just keep getting in the way, I got to see it to believe it. Is that referring to the team right there, or are you talking about Parsons and the Packers potentially contending? Because it has happened. Micah Parsons, with all due respect, he's gone. Dallas Cowboys didn't pay him, and he's moved on. So no more for him now. For the Cowboys, I look at their defense. Who's your best player on that defense now? Kenny Walker? Trayvon Diggs? And now, here's the thing. Last year, you had Mike Zimmer as the defensive coordinator. Now you got Matt Eberflus. So you're coming in this season with a new defensive coordinator without the 2 best players that helped keep your defense and keep your team somewhat stable last season, gave you a chance, at least kept you guys competitive throughout the season. They're gone. New defensive coordinator, who's not exactly the most favorable in the coach in the world. Granted, to be fair, Eberflus was a head coach last year. He's going from head coach to defensive coordinator. But still, to me, I don't see where it's going to go well for you guys. And getting back to my Packers fan at work, he said he wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys didn't win a game, which I think he might be exaggerating a little bit. But based on the fact that you lost your best defensive player, the optimism levels for the Cowboys have gone down. Really now, you're going to have to rely on your offense to really ball out. You're going to need Dak Prescott to play those good Dak Prescott regular season games that he's sometimes known for consistently throughout the season. You're going to need that offensive line. I was confused of what you meant by... You got Agent Warrior as a Giants fan. 3rd place Giants confirmed. Yeah, Agent Warrior, he even believes that now. Cowboys are going to be worse than the Giants, which we're going to have to see how that happens, man. But, dude, it's brutal, man. And for the Cowboys, now you got a new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, who's never been a head coach before. He comes from, a family with, his dad was Marty Schottenheimer, perhaps arguably the greatest NFL head coach to never win a Super Bowl. Up there with Marv Levy from the Bills, and up there with Bud Grant from the Vikings in the 70s. But you're talking about, that was your dad, though, with all due respect. I want to see what Brian Schottenheimer is actually going to do as the head coach. Marty, like I said, one of the greatest coaches to never win a Super Bowl. But let's see what Brian does. He hasn't been in this role before, and I'm not sure about that. And then Agent, he sees the Giants having a better record. Because with the Giants, as of right now, it looks like the Giants have more hope going into the season, because at least with you guys, you have Jackson Dart. There's at least potential he could come into the lineup. Even if you guys don't necessarily turn into a winning team this year. If he plays most of the season, you could become more competitive, maybe win some games, maybe work your way up 6-7 wins by the end of the season. You would at least have some hope for the future. So there is potential with the Giants to at least put up a respectable season and build hope for the future. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, I mean, they still have some good pieces on offense. You got Dak Prescott is a good regular season quarterback. You still have CeeDee Lamb, one of the best receivers in the game. Facts and Abdul Carter is going to eat so good. And then you got Abdul Carter there on your defense. That can help out as well. So you've got some pieces that could potentially give you some hope for the future. If Malik Neighbors can stay healthy this year, that could help out. So there's at least, I feel like there's some hope that the Giants can get better. Maybe if this year isn't the year to be a winning team, they could at least still turn things around, at least in terms of hope for the future. And he also said, I still got the Eagles winning the division. And most likely that is the case. And like I said, and you remember the Giants, though? I could see this could kind of be like Eli's rookie year, where you didn't necessarily turn it around in terms of wins and losses. You only won 6 games, but they went from an abysmal 4-12 to a competitive 6-10. Then, as Eli's first full season as the starter, they won the NFC East. So, Giants could be in a kind of similar position where they may not have the best win-loss record, but they at least show some promise for the future. Then maybe 2026, you're talking about maybe being a winning team. But we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. I could see 7-10 or 8-9. Agent Warrior, like I said, he thinks realistically the Giants are maybe 7-8 win team, which could certainly be possible. And like I always say, time will tell with everyone. But yeah, now you're talking about a position where you've seen where the chat's going. We're talking more about the Giants having more hope for the future than the Cowboys as of now. So that ties back into the main subject. That goes to show you how hard the Cowboys were hit by having to trade Parsons and how you don't know what their future is going to hold from there. I mean, for now, the immediate future looks like it's dark for them. For the Packers, it's really all about Jordan Love in terms of what does he do? Does he take that next step and go from respectable to great? Versus the Cowboys, what? Good luck. I'm calling this right now. Giants, Eagles, and Commanders truce after Parsons got traded. Yeah, definitely. Because one thing we're all got in common, all 3 fan bases, we're going to laugh our tail off at the Cowboys for this trade right here. And we saw the writing on the wall happening when Jerry Jones ran his mouth off in training camp. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, no, he didn't. As great as it is from an Eagles fan perspective to see one of our rivals falling apart like this, it's like, oh, Cowboys, you are F-U-C-K-E-D. Because your owner came out, put your star defensive end on blast publicly. Let's face it, we knew it was going to be over. I still hate Dallas with a huge passion. I'll miss Tommy DeVito. He's on the Patriots. Oh, that's breaking news for me. I didn't hear about that, but yeah. I know a lot of you guys like DeVito. He was a local guy, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I mean, but I understand why you guys did it, though, too. Because with all due respect, well, you guys love Tommy DeVito. He obviously was just a short-term flash in the pan, fan favorite, likable. But obviously, he didn't contribute or show that he could be the future guy. Hence why you drafted Jackson Dart. You brought in Russell Wilson. And you got Jameis Winston as your third stringer. So obviously, it just was one of those things. There wasn't room for the guy. But hey, that happens sometimes. Every fan base has a fan favorite that you can't keep in the long term. Eagles, we had that with Corey Clement and Wendell Smallwood a few years back. I mean, it happens to everyone. You get those fan favorites, those guys you like. I know you guys, Giants, you had Victor Cruz a while back. It happens. I feel like Giants are going to be a fun team in terms of the quarterbacks. Now, that could also, I feel like that depends on how you define fun. Do you mean in terms of on the field play or in terms of QB's controversy, wondering who's or when they're going to switch the helm? Because I feel like for you guys, it's only a matter of time before you make that decision and be like, all right, we're switching over to Jackson. So I'm of that mindset of, yeah, it's not a matter of if, but when you guys make the switch. I kind of got a feeling you're going to make that decision at some point. I think these gnats are getting to me. I can feel the itching on my head, yeah. But yeah, that's what mic'd up QB personalities and charisma. So kind of like a mix of characters. Yep, definitely, because you do have some interesting characters in that room. You got Russell Wilson, you got Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. But we're going to have to see what happens over there, man. We're going to have to see. And for the Cowboys, man, I was just thinking, though, because I wanted to see what some Cowboys fans thought. I looked at my personal Facebook, and I saw one Cowboys fan that I've known since we were kids, basically drinking the Kool-Aid about this, saying, like, oh, he's going to, oh, we're going to, we couldn't afford to pay him, get him out of here, we don't need distractions, and trying to pose up, hey, look what we got in return. He tried to share a post of the return package, trying to spin it in a positive light, which, to me, that just sounds like sheepish mentality right there from him. And I'm starting to look around social media. I mean, some Cowboys fans do have this sheepish mentality. Salen, Sammy Joe, they should have never paid Dak. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons they're in the predicament they're in now. They paid Dak way too much money for no playoff production, basically for being a modern Tony Romo. And you wonder why they're stuck in the position they're in. Some fan bases warn me about truth when it comes to the NFC East teams, but I still have faith. But that ultimately depends on who you're talking to, too, amongst NFC fans. Some people are cool about it. Yeah, we'll talk trash and have fun when it comes to the football aspect, but at the end of the day, hey, we cool with the way you see, we cool with each other. Doesn't matter who your team is. If you're cool, you're cool. If you're difficult to deal with, you're difficult to deal with. And yes, we'll always talk trash and have fun with it, but that's all the fun and games part of it. That's just, hey, that's part of sometimes what you do to have fun with it. Sometimes, like family gatherings, we have fun. We joke around with our family sometimes. We do it just to have fun. We're not trying to hurt each other. It's the same thing with sports, being a fan of different teams to me. Yes, we have fun. We talk trash about our teams, but that's just part of the fun. But there's a line to be blurred between having fun and just being completely toxic. Because you get some fans out there that are fun, like you have Cole's Cowboys. He's a fun fan. He sometimes trolls, but that's all just part of the fun that comes along with it. But then you get those other Cowboys, like toxic fans, like, and even I, as an Eagles fan, I see my fans that are toxic too. The ones that are always trying to push, they always want every single player that hits the free agent market. They try to throw themselves out there, think that every opinion is the fact, and that every opinion they have needs to happen. And if it doesn't, and if the Eagles don't do as well as they expected, it's because they didn't listen to them. You know, those type of fans that think they know all the answers to their team's problems. And when the teams don't do what they want and things don't work out, they think, oh, it's because they don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you, if they would have done this or this, it would have worked out. Not too late to be a Texans fan. Their draft class looks so fun. I mean, hey, the Texans, man, as long as CJ Stroud improves upon that year 2 slump and gets back to form, Texans should be good this year. And they already have the benefit of being in a poor division anyway as it is. A division where you're probably talking about the Colts at best being mediocre with Daniel Jones. Talk about the Jaguars. Confidence in Trevor Lawrence is down. I don't really see a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to be optimistic about for that, but Yeah, but when it comes to like the Cowboys, then you get some of those fans that are just the sheep that are just going to go along with ever, try to spin everything in a positive light and be like, hey, we did got Parsons out of there. We got rid of that distraction. Good move. But for them, I got to wonder, are you still optimistic at all? Because with one of the Cowboys fans I was at work with, who I haven't mentioned yet, I asked him what he thought. He's like, oh, man, if you were going to trade him, you was going to trade him to the Packers, a team that consistently beats us in the playoffs. And I'm like, that's another great point, too. They traded Parsons to a team in the same conference who has their number come playoff time. Because that's 2 times. Last in Giants fans, good luck with Daniel Jones with the Colts. Yeah. We'll have to see how that plays out. We'll see. And as I was saying, man, like I thought about one of my work guy who's a Cowboys fan said, yeah, that's a great point. They traded him to the Packers, who beat them twice in the Dak era in the playoffs, both times at AT&T Stadium. Both times the Cowboys were the favorite in those games. Dak's rookie year, rookie Dak, rookie Zeke, and then 2023, 2 versus 7, they beat him both times. Gizmo23, happy belated birthday. Thanks for stopping by in the chat. Saquon was signed to the Eagles when he was a free agent. Yeah, oh yeah, we know that. Yeah, that was an entirely different ball game, though. And we saw that paid out. Saquon Barkley had his best statistical season. The Eagles won the Super Bowl with him being a big contributing factor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Giants, yeah, definitely. But with all due respect, it's been a long time since you've clashed with Green Bay in the playoffs. And in the Eli era, you beat them 2 out of 3 times during that era in the playoffs. And you have Finn. No, Finn, yep, happy belated birthday. And as I was saying, man, and that's a great point. For the Cowboys, you trade Micah Parsons, your best defensive player, to a team that's had your number in the playoffs. And a team that going into the season looks like they have more going for them than they do. The Packers look like they have a lot more going for them based on the fact they've been to the playoffs 2 straight years. You know, they have a solid defense. They got Josh Jacobs. Some decent receiving options. Now you add Parsons to that Packers team. How do you think that's going to work? Especially being that the Packers beat you just 2 seasons ago in the playoffs. Last time you were there. I mean, it's just, I don't get it. I just don't. Like, and that's just crazy. I understand but that's a great, and there was a great point earlier that Dak should have never, Slam and Sammy brought it up, that they shouldn't have drafted, or they shouldn't have paid Dak all that money. And you see what happened. They got locked with his contract when a lot of their good talent they had that helped them reach the playoffs a couple times, win a few NFC East titles, hit the free agent market. They lost a lot of those key players. And even this offseason, they lost DeMarcus Lawrence to Seattle. That was another big hit for their defense. Let's not forget about that. I mentioned Eric Kendricks and Micah, and they lost those guys. But now on top of that, you also lost, that's right, DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seahawks. Let me not forget that one, too. That's a brutal loss as well. I'm headed inside just to get away from these gnats. As much as I love the fresh air and I enjoyed out there being nearly 30 minutes, actually more than 30 minutes in the fresh air, I'm going to turn on a light real quick. My face will be back on. But as much as I enjoyed it, got to come inside. But yeah, back on subject with football. Yeah, the Cowboys, you lost all your main guys on your defense last year, and you're coming into this year? Good luck with that. And you got Slam and Sammy puts Giants are an O-line away from being competitive. They might be in a better position than the Cowboys right now. Yeah, good. It certainly looks like it. Based on what we talked about, yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, absolutely. There's certainly a shot that could happen. And Agent Warrior says he's hoping Andrew Thomas stays healthy. And that would be a key component if that does happen. But yeah, I mean, now this is what's happened now. Overnight, all of a sudden, here we are saying that the Giants of all teams have more optimism than the Cowboys, and it's been a while since then. But hey, Cowboys got no one to blame but themselves for this, and whatever's going to happen during the season is going to happen, because I'm looking, who's going to do great on their defense? Who? I'm looking around for it. I'm trying to figure out. Kenny Clark? Kenny Clark's a good nose tackle. Ryder, Eagles. It's a Philly thing. So I'm coming into this season fresh off a Super Bowl. I'm looking at this laughing. Because even if the Eagles don't repeat and win the Super Bowl again, I'm not seeing the Cowboys doing any better. So even if the Eagles don't repeat, if the Cowboys play up to expectations, dude, you got no room to talk about the Eagles at all. Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. Nerado says you're dominating your division. Yeah, I can definitely. Especially the Giants and the Cowboys. Our toughest challenge is Washington by a mile. So from the Eagles fan perspective, I'm looking at them like, Cowboys looked like we already had their number going into the season. Now, oh yeah, I could definitely see us sweeping. Maybe we might split, but most likely we're sweeping them. And then you got the Giants. We're probably beating them once, we're probably beating them. And then the Commanders is maybe the one team I could see giving us some trouble. But outside of that, man, it's looking like a cakewalk. We should be able to win the division. Commanders are the only thing that's a real threat to us. Maybe the Commanders can make a shot, but the Giants aren't capable of anything, and the Giants... Maybe a little interesting with Dart, but you guys are stacked. Yeah, absolutely. And with the Giants, we were talking about this. Me, Agent Warrior said, I think the Giants could be more competitive this year. But they're not quite ready to start winning yet. I think it'll kind of be like Eli's rookie year. You remember where they showed some promise, but they weren't winning a whole lot of games. Then year two, they actually started winning games. I could see that happening here with Jackson Dart. It's funny because, man, where I work, we got a lot of different fans. We got Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Packers, Cardinals. Oh my gosh. I mean, my workplace is filled with different fans. We got a Saints fan that's our GM. I mean, we got a whole lot of fans. Your dad's Agent Warrior. Your dad's a diehard Commanders fan. Oh, so it runs to the family. You got different teams. Actually, kind of the same with my family too. I mean, my parents opposite teams. I ended up being an Eagles fan, which my dad was. And even a lot of my uncles, my cousins have different teams they support. Got an uncle who's a Jets fan. Got cousins a Bucks fan. So I guess you probably got one of those families, but it's kind of fun, man. That's what makes it interesting. And Slammin' Sammy says he thinks that they could be a draft away. And time will tell on that. My cousins are fans of different teams. Yep, Arku's in that too. We all got that. I guess a lot of us have fans of different teams. That's kind of what makes it fun around football season. I bet you any of you guys have family gatherings football season. It's a lot of fun. All the different jerseys, all the guys, cousins, brothers, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever the case may be for different people, having different teams, wives, whatever. I bet you that's a lot more fun around football season. Arku one is a Vikings Chiefs fan. Actually, I am not a Penn State fan, if you're talking to me. Unless you were talking to someone else. I'm an Eagles fan, but I don't really have a college team, actually. I more so follow along with most of the main players, see what's going on, kind of peek at some of the games, but I'll have to see with Drew Aller. I'm also looking forward most to Arch Manning. We mostly like UT as in University of Texas, I'm assuming. But yeah. But yeah, it's right. College season's back up, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens there, man. College football, probably some games going on right now. He said UC Arch Manning in 2027. Possibly, but it'll be interesting to see what he does this year for Texas. Drew Aller going to the Steelers or Rams, slamming Sammy's take. Oh, man, yep, give it time. We will certainly wait and see what's going to happen. And, you know, so we're just going to wrap up on that Cowboys and Packers. Obviously, a short-term win for the Packers. Cowboys. Besides sports, you're also a gamer. I mean, I sometimes play games, but I'm not like an avid gamer. I don't always pick up console every single day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I might play 2K or some battle games. I don't really play. I only got like a handful of games. I just repeatedly play them when I do pick it up. So I'm not really a huge gamer. Like, mostly my time consists of YouTube, work, and traveling. And those are my main hobbies right there. So sometimes. But I think we pretty much wrapped this thing up. I came on here, said what I wanted to say. We touched up on the main subject. We touched up a little bit on football, our fan bases. So Slam and Sammy, Agent Warrior X, Arku, thanks for stopping by in the chat. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. If anyone has yet to do so, please drop a like. You got Slam and Sammy, $47 million a year though. I would have offered 6 years at $250 million. Giving his thoughts on contract. But yes, guys, as I said, thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great Friday night. I'll still be dropping some shorts. I might do some impromptu streams. If this is your first time checking out my channel. When it comes to football-related content, every Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube. I got a show called The 3-Point Blitz. Mostly talk about football and basketball, but in this case, around this time of year, we're going to be talking football on that. So stay tuned for that. And for those that follow the Hardcore Sports Network, also on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be the first episode of Pick'ems. We'll be doing picks for Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. So stay tuned for that. You'll also get some YouTube shorts from me, some occasional videos along with the live streams. So stay tuned for that. Have a great rest of your night. It's your boy Nicky Steve signing off. Catch you later.